Today we're talking about Wanted Weapons of Fate. This game came out back when literally every action movie needed a video game adaptation, and honestly some of them were pretty terrible, but this one is actually kind of fun. So before anyone says anything, yes, I know that the footage looked like it was recovered from a government hard drive in 2009. That's actually because the PlayStation 3 apparently thinks that I'm trying to pirate the Declaration of Independence. So instead of recording this game normally through HDMI like a civilized human being, the PS3 activated its ancient copyright protection system and forced me to record through the composite cables. While the HDMI screen was, black, I was basically getting no signal through my new 4K capture card, which is pretty odd because the old one that I had ended up crapping out on me, but before that it worked like a charm. When it crapped out, I figured I would upgrade. What's the harm in that? But the upgrade did not exactly work in my favor, mainly because I didn't want to buy this special adapter and add more cables to my already messy cable area. But I will assure you the next time the quality will look better because I'm gonna buy that adapter and add to the mess, regardless. So if the video footage looks crunchy, that is not an editing choice. That's Sony personally attacking me and the fact that I'm just not willing to spend the extra money at the moment. But Wanted Weapons of Fate is basically a third-person shooter where you curve bullets like the movie, of course. Oh, and fun fact, I literally just found this out while looking up this for this video. This whole thing actually comes from a comic book series called Wanted Comic Book, and that's quite creative. So yeah, before it was a movie and before it was a game, this was an actual comic book series. In the movie version, that was just Wanted, the 2008 film, which is loosely based on the comic. The game that we're talking about today, Wanted Weapons of Fate, basically continues off the movie version instead of the comic. So there is basically 3 layers deep into an adaptation of an adaptation of an adaptation, I think.
They don't know that we know they know we know.
So I decided to actually come back and finally platinum this game on PlayStation 3. And yeah, it didn't take me very long. Yeah, it was like 6 hours and I completed the platinum. Now before anyone in the comments starts typing, that's quite impressive, I need to confess something. I already had this game sitting at like 89% completion from years ago. So this wasn't some Ultra Instinct speedrun. This was more like cleaning out unfinished business from my young adult years. But I will say that I couldn't load the old save file because I did not actually have that PlayStation 3 anymore. I had a new PS3 that I purchased for this YouTube channel. So I did actually have to start the game all the way over. But I only had to go after like 4 different trophies until I got the platinum. The gameplay surprisingly still holds up better than I expected. The cover shooting still feels smooth enough. These slow motion kills are ridiculously overdramatic, and honestly that is the best part. You'll shoot one guy and then the camera acts like you just entered a Marvel movie. It's pretty cinematic in its own right, but it's still no Uncharted. I just want to get that out of the way. The story of this actually picks up directly after the Wanted movie, which I actually enjoy this more than I do them just trying to recreate the movie into a video game. I have always loved video game movie sequels. Looking at you, Scarface, the world is yours. Hopefully I'll draw that out of the hat soon. I loved Scarface. And it's kind of funny, like knowing the original comic, again, the Wanted comic book is actually way darker and more unhinged than the movie and the video game ended up to be. I've read a couple of them and I guess you can say that I've watched a couple videos, but this whole franchise was basically comic book and then Hollywood action filter and then PS3 bullet curving simulator. The platinum itself actually isn't that hard. A lot of them are just difficulty related trophies, collectibles, and cleanup. And the hardest part honestly was fighting with my PlayStation 3 itself. Not the enemies, not the bosses, not the accuracy challenges. No, the real final boss was the HDCP copyright protection. I spent more time figuring out how to record this game than actually finishing the trophies. But the quality definitely took a hit. And I'm not just talking about the image like it came from a security camera at a gas station. Everything started acting weird, like the PlayStation menu itself was struggling to survive. Sometimes the text icons would kind of blend together like the PS3 was having an identity crisis, and half of the time I couldn't even tell what my controller battery level was at because the little icon didn't even pop up when I tapped the PlayStation button. That's apparently because composite cables only output standard definition video, basically ancient technology to modern TV standards. So the menus that were originally designed for HDMI and sharper resolutions suddenly looked like somebody smeared Vaseline across the screen. Get your mind out of the gutter, it wasn't me, I promise. And then the game itself started doing things that I have never seen before. There was literally an entire section where the floor just wouldn't render. So I'm over here trying to curve bullets and shooting people while the map is becoming a void dimension. And before anyone says that my disc is probably just broken, I honestly think that it had more to do with the video output setup than the actual game. Because composite cables on an HD TV can get really fuzzy and unstable compared to the HDMI, especially on PS3. Fair, the composite cables are basically the lowest quality signal the PlayStation 3 can output. It's literally PlayStation 2 hookup, pretty much. But somehow the weirdness still did not stop there. For some reason, the game wouldn't even properly notify me when I've earned the trophies, so half the time I had no idea what I was completing or when I was going for a specific trophy. I'd finish a challenge and just sit there like, did I do it? So every once in a while I had to stop playing, pull out my phone on the PlayStation Network app, and manually check if the trophy popped. Every once in a while I would hear this famous little ding every time I would get the trophy, but it wouldn't actually be notified, and sometimes it would be so quiet I couldn't hear it. Nothing feels more like next gen than using a iPhone 15 to monitor a PlayStation 3 running through composite cables. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that the missing trophy notifications had something to do with the video output setup too, because previously it didn't do this. The previous game that I had on this channel that I had featured that was PlayStation 3 was the Family Guy Back to the Multiverse video. And everything worked perfectly fine, but it was also before I upgraded to a different capture card. The whole Platinum experience slowly turned into Paranormal Activity, but somehow, despite the blurry menus, disappearing floors, and the footage looking like it was a YouTube upload from 2008, that almost made it more fun. I think the shorter games are kind of refreshing now. Not every game needs to be 140 hours long, with crafting systems, battle passes, skill trees, fishing mechanics, emotional trauma, and 17 currencies. Sometimes I just want to shoot people for 6 hours and move on with my life, and this game delivers exactly that. So overall, Wanted Weapons of Fate is definitely one of those weird PS3 era games that probably got overlooked. It's not a masterpiece, but it's just dumb fun in the best way. And honestly, revisiting it for the Platinum was a pretty good time despite the technology fallacies. If you remember this game and had fond memories of it or had terrible memories of it, please let me know in the comments regardless. Let me know your experience with this game. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, subscribe for more content like this, and maybe pray for my composite cables because they're working overtime right now. And that is about it, and as always, I won't see you, but you will see me, or at least hear my voice in the next video. Let's see what we're doing next.
Okay, you ready, buddy? You ready? You ready to do this?
Yeah.
There's the hat. Oh my gosh, it looks huge. There's your legs done. Ready and go. Do you want that one? This one I think is a video idea. It is. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a challenge that I added in the hat. And it is play Uncharted Drake's Unfortune and try to get #1 in all stats compared to all my friends. That's different. It's very different. Then you have these two. You want to say bye? Say bye.
Bye.